Hello, nerds and nerdettes. Welcome back to the channel, where once again we have a new video for you guys, which today's video is going to be another haul video, the videos I enjoy so much. This video is going to represent everything that I picked up in the month of May going into June. For some reason, that took me so many cuts. I kept saying munch instead of month, but other than that, before we jump into the haul itself, I do want to remind you guys that if you're looking for any of these books or you'd like to help out the channel, of course, head on over to the channel sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order. And also, like I said, to help out the channel, I'd be extremely thankful for that. Also, if you guys could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button before we jump in. But without further ado, let's start with, of course, indies first, because sadly this month I don't have any manga to go over, so we'll start with indies. First up for indies is going to be the Kick-Ass trilogy. We'll put down Kick-Ass 2 so you guys can hear me a little bit better. Of course, it's done by Mark Millar and John Romita Jr. It pretty much covers nerds like you and I attempting to change the world by taking out the mafia or the mob by becoming real-life superheroes. It was turned into a motion picture, which some of you may be familiar with. There is Kick-Ass 1 and 2, but there is a third installment in the comic books, but not in the movies just yet. But this does cover the entire series. I already have the Kick-Ass 2 prequel Hit Girl in my collection, so this does complete Kick-Ass, at least the original series, which I'm super pumped about because I love Mark Millar and I also love Kick-Ass. But we'll head to the next title. Next up for indies is going to be Hellboy, BPRD 1952 through 1954. The hardcover, not the softcover omnibuses that they've been putting out. There are a decent amount of BPRD hardcovers and Hellboy BPRD, as well as the Abe Sapien hardcovers that I would like to track down while simultaneously tracking down Hellboy, but those are getting harder and harder to kind of come across. Not the Hellboy library editions. We do have confirmation that those are going to be evergreen and forever printed, but these in hardcover format are kind of hard to find. But I was able to find one and snag one on In Stock Trade's Red Tag sale, which is super exciting. I have jumped into the Hellboy world slightly. I believe I've read what is collected in that first library edition of Hellboy, but really that's it. So a lot of the BPRD and backstory stuff, as well as what expands the world, I have not dove in deep into, reading issues here and there because I am a huge fan of Mike Mignola, but super excited to get it into the library. I'm taking on yet another series to try and collect it, unfortunately, but still I want a lot of Hellboy books in my collection because I do want to eventually have maybe not the entire series, but the majority of that series and its spin-offs. But that wraps up this book, so we'll head to the next. Next up is going to be the Department of Truth Deluxe Edition or Hardcover Volume 1, James Tynion. This was on one of my most anticipated videos for May, and it was extremely exciting to finally get it in. This goes over a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of governmental espionage elements as well. It does have a lot of vibes similar to X-Files or anything kind of sci-fi like that, where you're kind of going deep into urban legend territory, which is definitely up my alley. I watched X-Files with my dad, so this is something that I for sure wanted to check out more than I already have. I've touched on before, I've only really read what's collected in that first trade paperback, which is the first 5 issues. This obviously goes past that, so I'm excited to finally dive deeper into the world of Department of Truth that is being built by James Tynion, who is extremely hot right now as a writer. But that does wrap up my indie titles, so we're going to go into the big 2, which is typically the brunt of my haul, starting with DC. First up for DC is Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 3. I thought I finished this line until I realized I did not have Volume 3 of Wonder Woman Earth 1. So I picked it up also on that In Stock Trades red tag sale. It's hard to say no to a crazy deal. I think this was pretty much being given away for the price that it was at. Um, but very excited to finish the Earth One kind of line for DC. I am a huge fan of the Earth One titles, specifically the Batman and Superman. Um, I'm pretty sure they're not continuing this line or this series of books, unfortunately, but still, you have Grant Morrison writing Wonder Woman. Can't ask for much better content than that. Super excited that I was able to get it in, and even more excited that I got it for the price that I got it for. But that does wrap up this book, so we'll jump to the next one. And the next book is Jurassic League by Juan Gideon and Daniel Warren Johnson. As probably a lot of you know from my videos on the channel, I am a huge fan of Daniel Warren Johnson, pertaining to his writing, his art, really any title he's on. I usually fall in love with. He's my style of writer as well as artist. Huge bombastic splash pages, an absolute blast anytime he's illustrating or writing, and this is kind of up his alley. This is the Justice League turned into dinosaurs, as silly or 90s cartoon of an idea that sounds like. That's what this book is, but it is a lot of fun. The art is amazing throughout the entire book. You have dinosaur versions of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Joker, so it's a lot of creative muscles being flexed as well, just to see these DC characters reimagined into a dinosaur. Definitely not something that obviously you're going to really dive deep into and maybe find some hidden meaning to life in its pages, but still something up my alley, something I know I'll enjoy reading and know that I'll want in my collection, especially with the name Daniel Warren Johnson on it. But that does wrap up this book, so we'll head to the last DC book of the haul, which the final book is going to be Batman Road to No Man's Land, sorry, the Omnibus. This is probably my second favorite era in Batman, the first era being Nightfall, and then this era being the No Man's Land era. Pretty much follows Batman after the events of an earthquake, and Gotham is essentially in shambles, being divided amongst a lot of the villainous characters in Gotham, and Batman essentially trying to save the day while also being cut off from the rest of the world because of the insane earthquake that pretty much took place. But this entire storyline is collected in 3 omnibuses. This is the first omnibus of the 3, and I'm super excited to finally get it in. DC hasn't been releasing a lot of books that I necessarily need, and if they are, they're hardcovers, so I've been taking the time to kind of get some that I've passed on for the time being, which is obviously No Man's Land. So I'm going to start collecting this line as well, a little spoiler to future hauls in the future, but super excited to get it in. Definitely going to do a review on this book, because like I said, it is an amazing era in Batman. A lot of Bat characters being not only introduced, but expanded upon, giving a lot of responsibility in this version of Gotham that you kind of see in its pages. So if you have not checked it out, I highly implore you to, but I'm super pumped that I was able to get it in now that things seem to be slowing down a bit as far as releases. But that does wrap up DC, so we'll head to Marvel and the releases that they have. First up for Marvel is not a recently released omnibus, but one that was on my backlog, which is Wolverine and the X-Men by Jason Aaron. A lot of modern X-Men books I plan to get into the library eventually. That is my favorite era for the X-Men, which is probably a little bit of a hot take because most people are huge fans of the Claremont era, but I just love modern X-Men books. I don't know what it is. So obviously I had to pick this up. Got this for a very decent price. One that I needed to kind of fill out that modern era. It's not my favorite run on the X-Men or the title in general, even though Jason Aaron is up there in probably my top 15, maybe top 20 favorite writers, especially when it pertains to obviously his Thor run, but still super excited that I was able to get it in, especially again for the price that I got it for. Sometimes people are essentially giving away books, and it's very hard for me to say no, so I typically pick them up. So pumped to have it in the collection, and we'll head to the next book, which is going to be The Fantastic Four by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch Omnibus. Not the most renowned run on the Fantastic Four, but it is a run done by two of my favorite creators, Mark Millar and Brian Hitch, both probably in my top 5 favorite writers and artists, respectively. Also, the same creative team that put out the Ultimates, which is probably one of my favorite titles ever. So this was kind of a no-brainer because of the creative team, not necessarily because of its contents. This does bridge the gap between the Wade and Ruingo and the Hickman omnibuses, which makes it kind of a necessity pertaining to the modern era of Fantastic Four. But like I said, it's not winning any awards based off its storytelling. Definitely its art is immaculate and insanely beautiful, but it's not a necessity pertaining to its story. But I do have a review on the channel, so if you want to check that out, you can look up above and check that out before you pick it up. But we'll head to the next title, which is going to be Avengers by Jonathan Hickman, Volume 2. This does complete his run on Avengers. This was a extremely anticipated reprint between volumes 1 and 2 of Jonathan Hickman's run, and I'm through the moon that it's finally been done and finally been collected in my collection. Super pumped. They kind of missed the mark pertaining to the spines, but if you want to see what I'm referencing there, you can check out my review, which I'll leave up above. But this is a lot of people's favorite run on the title of Avengers. This is a very, very dense and impactful run as well, which is similar to anything Jonathan Hickman really touches. But super excited that Volume 1 and 2 got a reprint, so I can collect that entire run in the collection. But that does wrap up this book, so we'll head to the next one. And the final book of the whole is Deadpool and Cable, the Omnibus, or how most nerds know it as, which is Cable and Deadpool, the Omnibus. Super exciting reprint as well. This is my favorite Deadpool run, my favorite Cable run, which I guess if you want to count it as an individual run for those characters. But this has a sweet spot in my heart because this was a early run, an early kind of title that I was collecting when I was collecting single issues. So this was very early in my exposure in comics, but it is such an amazing read. I very much enjoyed my reread. I do have a review on the channel, which I can leave up above if you would like to check that out, but it is really something great, and another title that I was ecstatic once I heard it was getting a reprint, which it seems like just waiting for a reprint on any book is honestly probably the best idea pertaining to a lot of these titles, not even searching on the aftermarket anymore. But super pumped that I was able to get it in, and I'm very happy that they changed up the covers as well. But that does wrap up the Marvel books, so unfortunately that does wrap up today's haul. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that keep tuning in week after week. Next video that will be coming up will be a highly anticipated book that a lot of us have been waiting for, which I'm extremely excited to get that review out for you guys. But of course, comment down below if you feel like I slept on any title or I forgot to pick something up. I'm only human, so I can only read so much and I can only pick up so much. So if you think there's something that I should check out, comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. But other than that, if you have not joined the Illuminati, hit that subscribe button to join the community. It's really growing to be such an amazing place. Also, if you could do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon, this channel is still trying to hit the milestone of 1K subscribers, which I'll be extremely thankful of because that furthermore puts us into that algorithm. And also, if you did enjoy this video or maybe some prior videos that you checked out, hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified anytime I put out content. But thank you again for watching. I truly appreciate it. And of course, stay nerdy.